I'm gonna play, yeah, I think I'm just gonna play call, and if one of these guys jams, I think they're gonna be shoving ace, queen, and better over my call, so someone jams, we have a very easy fold. Yo, what is up? Welcome. Quick recording here. We have 4 left in the Sunday 2K high roller, and decided I'm gonna record since it's a very interesting table with one very good rack and 2 unknowns. Yeah, let's see how it goes. Queen 8 off. Yeah, I'm not sure if he's on tilt. He just lost a big pot. Pre-flop all in. Timothy did 3-bet me small, and he 4-bet jams. I'm gonna go for a small c-bet just to protect against some really weak holdings. Of course, I have picked up some reads on these particular players, and I think my ROI or my EV is incredibly high, so it's a good card to barrel. We might make him fold some. I mean, his very swift check kind of feel like he has a lot of deuce X. I mean, he can have some jack X, jack 10. I think it's, yeah. I think it's also good to, in these small pots, to, you know, just sometimes check it down. The way they are playing, of course, some ICM punts here and there. I don't necessarily want to get involved into too marginal spots. Also here, very deep in the Sunday 500 bounty builder. I think here against the 2.25x open raise, we can peel our suited ace from the small blind. Pets has the largest bounty. I think I would be opening queen 8 and better. I wouldn't hate opening queen 7 off, but yeah, I probably would be fine. I don't think that Timothy is going to play particularly aggressive. Not sure how he perceives me in this lineup, if I'm going to be overly loose, but oh, whoa. Even though the ICM is pretty big here, of course, I would still go broke with pocket kings. Here in the $500 bounty builder, collected so far 3k in bounties. This guy is definitely quite reckless. He reshoved earlier, king 8 suited here, which I think is quite loose. I'm just going for a small c-bet. I don't think this guy is doing a lot of raising. I think this is the best strategy against a lot of players. Of course, there are some players you need to adapt against, but other than that, I think it's a very valid strategy. Yeah, and we just hope that the short stack is busting. If he shoves, I'm gonna call for sure. That's already good to know. I do have some sizing tails on him. So this sizing is already... Alright, now it should make it pretty easy. I don't mind leading the river. Yeah, actually I don't mind leading the river. We got pretty lucky here. I would play very, very loose here from the small blind, of course, but 3 deuce off, I think we can fold. I'm gonna play, yeah, I think I'm just gonna play call, and if one of these guys jams, I think they're gonna be shoving ace, queen, and better over my call, so someone jams, we have a very easy fold. And now we just need to hold, split. Ah, ooh, he can't even win anymore on this turn. That's pretty good. And now we're actually quite deep. I definitely want to value bet this turn. Yes, he will have some better aces, but he will also have the full range of 5s to kings. I don't think, even if he doesn't have a diamond, I think he will very likely at least call 1-bet. Of course, I don't want to make it too big. I don't want to start generating fold equity against these hands and start isolating myself against better hands. And even if he folds pocket 5s without a diamond, I even don't mind. It also has, I think, 6 outs, right? The gut shot and 2 outs for the set. So this final table was definitely a little easier to play. I mean, last week it was packed with pretty much all the excellent high stakes regs. I had a very, very interesting hand on the bubble, actually. I've saved it somewhere. Let's see. Yeah, this is definitely quite a strong sizing. Can I zoom in? That's a bad turn. He will still have 4x, 10x. We could go for, I'm gonna go for a small lead. We blocked the 4, that kind of sucks. We can go for a big play here. I mean, this is probably a hand we should be check raising quite often, blocking. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I think I would have turned this hand into a bluff. When we have a little bit of delay here, I can go over these hands. Okay, so I mean delay, but a little bit of a break. So this is basically the stone bubble. I mix up raising and limping. I definitely want to have some of these suited connectors in my raising range as well. Against a good reg, I want to have board coverage on these kind of boards. I do have some 7x in my raising range, certainly. So I definitely also, when I have some backdoors with a 3, with a 6, backdoor diamonds, I don't want to make it too big because his range is very well protected by flushes already, by backdoor spades. So it will be very easy for him to find the proper defending range if I size it too big. But he will have some hands like ace-9 and diamonds, and now I can just comfortably check, and hopefully he has an ace-deuce, ace-3, ace-9 with the ace and spades. But of course I'm going to check fold. Oh, that's why lesson number 1 in poker, you should always bluff with equity. So even though you are behind, you can still catch a hand. Now I really would like to see a 3-bet, because this guy is, I think, pretty tight in terms of 3-betting. So Lena opens the cutoff, and we have one 10 big blind shorty here. I think we're 13 left and 12 paid, and we had also another 10 big blind stack on the other table. I'm gonna check raise this flop, and unless he picks a ridiculous sizing, but these cards around the 8 that will pick up a lot of backdoor equity, make him fold a hand like Queen Jack and clubs, all these hands he's c-betting with, Jack 10 and hearts. We have King 8, King 4. We're still quite deep pre-flop, so I'm not reshoving any set. So we defend Queen 8 off, and Lena goes for a very, very large c-bet here. I call. Turn is pretty sweet. I mean, he represents King Jack, King Queen, Ace King, pocket 8s, pocket 5s with this large sizing. And then random trash, something like 10-9, Jack 10, where he blocks some stronger, King X. Let's focus on this hand now. That's an interesting sizing. We can just raise and get it in, but we also dominate a lot of his draws, so we can comfortably check call any turn. I mean, unless he jams now, but if he has something like 10-8, Jack 10, I don't think he's going anywhere. I really don't want to see an all-in on the turn. Yep, and we're gonna call. He will still have some hands like King Jack, King 10, maybe like King Jack with 1 club. So yeah, we have to call, and hopefully he jams the river. I don't want to have a shoving range here. I don't have a lot of flush. I'm going to start check folding my my weakest flushes here if I have something like 7-8 in clubs. So it's not necessarily a good card for my range. And I think if he has a ace jack with jack and clubs, he might be value shoving now anyway. So I really hope he's doing so. Yeah, and he was on King 8 in hearts. So even there, on a lot of runouts, we would have even chopped. So we're not only calling for the flush draw here, of course. I think his barrel, I don't like it for one particular reason, because he blocks a lot of my Jack 8s, 10 8s. So if you want to double barrel this with no equity, he wants to do it with a hand like King 6, King 5, King 4. So of course we're going to check call, but now something interesting happens. He checks back. Of course we have a clear value bet. If he, we just jam. I go for a value bet and Lena jams, and it's pure bubble. Of course the ICM pressure is big. I mean, no doubt, if we have to have some calling hands, this is one of these level wars where he either has the random Jack 10. I don't think 6-7 would size that big, to be honest. Yeah, I'm just gonna raise. I mean, if he jams, we have to call it off. Actually, maybe we can keep him alive for a little bit, because we can apply a lot of pressure against the other stack. We can't. I would probably start calling Queen Jack suited. If he raises, I'm gonna 3-bet. I mean, even though he might be very tight now with his raising range, so. But I think if he has Queen Jack suited, he's not gonna peel against this 3-bet. So. Now he's a little deeper. He has 1 big blind more to the previous hand. I think I would still fold. It's literally just shoving 9-8 suited. Yeah, he's for sure shoving 9-8 suited, but yeah, this is one of the spots I have no incentive to bust the money bubble here. So I'm gonna make a tighter fold. It might be slightly plus EV, but again, I can open the button very wide. I mean, I think even if he has 7s, he's just gonna be in a horrible spot. Yeah, so what would you do when you know that your opponent is capable of making crazy plays, especially on the bubble, and he doesn't represent a lot of value hands? I mean, it's basically just Jack 10, and he can have Ace Jack 8. I mean, with his big flop sizing, it has to be something random, right? So it's not really possible now to break it down from a mathematical standpoint, because this is just pure meta game. And especially with the ICM pressure, I mean, this is something would be probably very interesting to analyze. Oh, he makes a straight. I decided to call. Yeah, I can definitely fold some hands. I mean, I have 6-7 myself. I don't have Jack 10. This is very, very interesting now. I have a great opportunity if Timothy is not exploiting me by reshoving very, very wide, because I do want to open hands like King 4 off, and if I raise like 50% of the time and he's reshoving 15 big blinds, I'm not going to call a lot of hands, right? He still has a lot of fold equity. So technically he could reshove a hand like Queen Deuce suited very profitable against me. So I'm going to test it out. I'm going to open the button quite wide here. Because we haven't actually played that much against each other. So the first thing is always very similar texture than previously. I'm gonna raise fold here. This hand very benefits from folding out Queen 4, Queen 5 off. So yeah, this is a hand. I also don't want to raise that big, because I think, as it seems, it generates enough fold equity. And as we have seen earlier, when we had the Ace 6 and he had the Ace Deuce, I kind of felt, I was tempted to bluff the river, because he had like a little sizing tell, in my opinion. I'm gonna second barrel here. I think we have some. Yeah, I'm just not gonna fuck around here on this board. So I'm definitely gonna pay attention to his snap checks on the turn, snap checks on the river. Without antes against the tight button range, I think we just have to fold. So yeah, let's just quickly finish analyzing this hand. It could be something like a Queen Jack, Queen 10, because he knows I'm going to be value betting. I'm not going to have bluffs. I don't think with Queen Jack, Queen 10 he's going to have short on value. So I don't think we also would fold probably some 5x on the turn. On the river 8x, we're just going to check down. So we basically going to value bet King X and better. And a hand he might be, I don't think he's value shoving queen 9 where we have all the 6-7s, we have a lot of 2 pairs, so yeah, queen 9 is not in his range anyway. It's probably better for me to bluff catch a hand like king jack, king 10. However, I do think that also jack 10 might be second pairing. So it's a lot of guessing here, and this is where I just went with my gut. Luckily this time it went right, just simply because he's representing so little value hands. Yeah, again, like queen 9, like a random big bet on the flop to make me fold ace highs and 5x immediately. But I don't think it's jamming the river, so it's just a miracle jack 10. I preclude 6-7 100% of the time because he's not sizing it so big. And then he has all the ace jacks, ace 10s, queen jacks, queen 10s. So yeah, luckily we managed to scoop this pot, and it put us in a very good spot for the bubble, and of course in a better position for the final table. All right, quick break. See you guys in 5 minutes. What I really like about playing against players like Lena is of course their ability to deviate from GTO. It might be even GTO bluff, I don't know. Like, this is a line I haven't really studied in depth, but it's one of these spots where you can't really rely on GTO, and it's just about trusting your gut, trusting your instincts, and yeah, they take you to the streets, and then you have to work with the little amount of information you have available. I mean, he could have had jack 10, and then you think, of course, they always have it, and it feels like being the biggest idiot on earth. But nothing we can do. Yeah, I think we can value bet the river here. He will have a lot of jack X, they're probably not going to fold. I think also king would quite often start betting at some point. Going for a c-bet, I think it's a good hand. We can even very often go for a second barrel and make him fold a jack. And we block a lot of good hands in his range for obvious reasons. I think his range is very pocket pair and ace high heavy, so I don't think I have a lot of fold equity on this turn. I'm going for a very random second barrel here, and if the heart bricks, I will second barrel the river, because I do think his check call range will contain, that's a bad river actually, because we block the ace queen. He will have a lot of ace kings. Yeah, I was about to say 10 is good, and 9 queen is of course good. A 6 would be good. Yeah, the king is not, I mean, he could have something like ace 8 off, but I think it's ace 8 is going to limp more often, and then he will, yeah, have more around these combos. I actually didn't expect him to have a king jack there, so this could have gone terribly wrong. Oh, finally we have a hand here. I almost completely missed this tournament. Yeah, I'm just going to call. I think with our bounty now, people gonna start 4-bit jamming against us when we 3-bet, so we have to be a little more careful because we have 1600 on our head. Interesting, very small 3-bet. Interesting to see if Tim, I'm just going to call him Tim. Tim is going to fold against, oh yeah, he actually does. Yeah, he probably perceived it as very strong. I think I'm going to 3-bet call here. And I'm going to 3-bet here. Yeah, good luck, boys and girls. That's what I expected. Okay, I mean, we're gonna call against this very, very small 3-bet here. Even though he didn't 3-bet a lot, sometimes people just like, you know, fuck him, this guy, just gonna 3-bet him now. I mean, we have enough showdown value against this ace king, ace queen, ace jack. If he bets, yeah, I was thinking to jam, but now we can just check it down. Okay. But yeah, if he has tens, of course, he has ace queen, ace jack, and if we have that much fold equity against the min raise, I'm defending any two. Yeah, of course, if he has tens, he has ace king, ace queen, maybe even ace jack. So I do expect that he's probably also going to check a lot of overpairs even on this run out. But I think if he checks an overpair, I don't think he's going to fold. If he jams, we have an easy call. Gonna limp here. Definitely don't want to jam any two. I mean, he has almost no ICM against us. And on this board, we have to be very careful. Man, I really want to already start folding the turn. We'll see. Maybe I'm the biggest idiot in the world here, but I feel like our range doesn't have a lot of ace highs, perceived king highs, so he knows we're gonna have a lot of traps, kings, aces, all these sort of hands. King me. Without a backdoor flush draw, I mean, he almost min raises. Yeah, we have to call. It's just too small. Oh, we can fold. Just gotta hit the king there, then you're gonna scoop a big pot. And again, just a very small c-bet. We have some good backdoors. And just because he did win a couple of pots doesn't necessarily mean that we should deviate from our strategy. So far, he was showing up always with strong hands. So we should not get the perception that he's now bluffing or overly aggressive. He does give us a lot of walks, so we're already generating a lot of EV just by playing blind versus blind against him. this would have gotten nasty if he jams. I don't know what I would have done. Against his min raise, I'm gonna. I just don't really want to 3-bet. I mean, if he has a hand like King 5, I want to keep those hands in. I'm gonna bet the flop. King 7. Finally, we have a shoving hand. I would be shoving around 60 to 70% of my hands here against. If I, of course, limp or min raise or do something with my top range, I would also, if I have a hand like 8-7, I would shove. If I have 8-6 off, I would probably limp or do something, because he knows that I'm gonna be trapping with my top range as well. So my borderline hands, I would probably mix in my limping range. Gonna 3-bet ace-10 off here. This works out pretty well so far. Yeah, I want to pick a sizing, because against this stack size, I mean, could we raise forward? I mean, with this sizing, we can't raise forward anymore. And now if he has a hand like pocket 4s, whereas against the min raise, he might shove. But against this sizing, when he doesn't have any forward equity anymore, or pocket 3s, he might decide just to fold. And that's awkward. It's really awkward. Do we call? No, I don't really want to call. I want to get it him against. Yeah, I want to pick a sizing that he calls and he can also overcall. Like, I want to have a 3-way. So yeah, it's a little bit too big, but it's also not that bad if we have forward equity against him, because now we're free rolling for the additional dead money, which is not too bad either. But yeah. We're still a little bit too deep for shoving, so I'm gonna go with my raising strategy. And again, for us, it's not that bad. I mean, for the immediate EV, it's kind of disaster, but I was very surprised that he folds. I mean, he just has to overcall 100k, and then yeah, I don't understand. I mean, against this opponent who is not that aggressive, you can also go ahead and check back. This turn we are going to check back. Not sure. Depends. I mean, he has a lot of 8-7, Queen 8, so if he bets, we're of course going to call. 9-8. So my goal is really to just grind it down. Oh, we got a hand. Of course, we're gonna 3-bet. Oh, so far you always folded against 3-bets. Now we also have a hand we can limp call a raise with. Not against an all-in, of course. So this might be a very long 3-way battle. And Tim is fighting his way back. I'm gonna raise again. I think he perceives my raises maybe a little stronger. Great board. I would definitely check a lot of good hands on this board as well. Just we have a lot of ace kings, ace queens that really don't want to put in a bet. King 4, we're going to limp forward. Suited, if I have something like Queen 4 suited, Queen 5 suited, those would be good hands. We can also mix in some limp 3-bets, which I will certainly do because he's attacking my limps quite a lot. I'm gonna 3-bet here. Was he always raising? That sizing? Yeah, kinda. All right, all right, all right. Tim. I think he just has really good hands. But now we're all even. Guess they both have a 10. Yeah. Yep, both have a 10. I mean, he has quite a big bounty, so we make a 6. I would be very surprised if he folds that turn, to be honest. He could have 6-7. Can have king 6, jack 6 suited, maybe 6-8 suited. A pot controlled queen. Yeah, this is a sizing where we want to be. Polarizing ourselves. This is a horrible turn. I don't want to raise this flop because we have a player behind who can continue with a lot of weak diamonds. So you will achieve a higher EV by letting him in with his jack, deuce, and hearts. Since we block a lot of his calling range, I think we want to do a bunch of checking here. And we can represent a queen, jack, and hearts or something. So yeah, we're gonna call, of course. Gonna start betting this turn here. Oh, these are always so horrible rivers. Any 9, any 5, any 10 is good. I mean, he can have something like ace 9. We block the clubs. He checked the king earlier. Like, this is a really bad river. Wow, he even traps. Wow. All right. At least we have some good give ups. Oh, he is very trappy. All right. So we should definitely bluff less against his checks. It seems he is very check heavy. And then if you just get an uber hand, we go for ridiculous overbets. Unfortunately, he doesn't have anything here. And I would definitely do more 3-betting. I mean, if he opens this hand also from the small blind, then we can do way more 3-betting. The 10 is not strong enough to check raise. If I have ace 10, king 10, I would consider check raising. He checks back pretty fast. I would have expected him to barrel. Definitely go for value here. Maybe a sizing where we induce a raise from ace king, ace. Yeah, actually I go for a sizing where I think a lot of flush draws would barrel the turn, but he has all the ace queens, ace kings with one spade. It's always the question. Yeah, I think it's, yeah, against this particular hand, I think we got quite good sizing, not too small. I think if you bet 1/3, he's gonna call. If we start with a pot bet, yeah, I'll just go for min raising my entire range here. Just gonna check. Trappy, this guy. Going for a check raise on the flop. Yeah, I think we have to check. I mean, we can also bet small. Yeah, I'm just betting small to fold out a hand like random overcard, something like King 5 suited for him and pocket threes for him. This is combined quite a lot of equity, and it's interesting. So you should probably just raise a lot his bets. I'm gonna call once here. I mean, he can still value bet at 10. The only 9x I see him having is 9-8, Jack 9, and that's pretty much it. So since there's still the chance he might value bet or block bet, or not block bet but protection bet, like just pet this 10 and then then give it up. Huh. King Jack. No balls. Yeah, it's tough. Not sure if I would bluff catch the river. I mean, that's the problem. Like, if he has Queen Jack, he should probably jam. King Jack. Yeah, you don't want to have a diamond, probably. But it was definitely a decent pot for us. Now we are in 4th position, and Darwin is chip leading. Oh, we win this one. Yeah, I go for a limp jam. We're around 30 bigs, but this time he doesn't raise. Just bad timing. Very, very bad river. Now essentially he has 0 bluffs in his range. Like 8-9, 8-5, all these hands got there, so that's a pretty terrible river. How did we manage to? I'm going to 3-bet 4-5 suited here. We actually haven't been 3-betting a lot against him, so once it went wrong. My poker chips just said goodbye. 6-5 off, we're gonna defend, especially with the small blind. Whenever the small blind enters the pot, you want to be defending much wider. I mean, I would have defended heads up anyway, and yeah, just check fold. Maybe he is checking his entire range against me. Yeah, who knows? I'm definitely not folding a hand against the min raise. Has nothing to do with exploitative, it's just pure math. That against the min raise, blind versus blind, you can't fold a hand. I'm trying to check it down here. Call or 3-bet. I go for the 3-bet. So far he was always folding. I'm just gonna check it down until the river and then decide to bluff the river. Now he starts betting. Okay, now it should be very bluff heavy. Now it should be very bluff heavy. I don't think he would lead a king. Yeah, we just go for a normal sized value bet here. I think if he has a flush, he's not going to fold. At least if he has a 10, like I don't want to get too greedy. I think the sizing is fine here. We got him. I think we got lucky there on the river. Ooh, what? All right, we got our image. We got our image. Very well played. Yeah, pocket fives. I'm just choosing a sizing where I counted myself against him, and yeah, just get it in pre. 20 big blinds, around 20 to 30 big blinds. You can always play these pairs as reshove. Oh, we got lucky. Yeah, I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry. But again, it's definitely interesting that he decides to lead the turn. It's like he probably bets all the hands where he doesn't really know what to check or what to do when checked. Like he wants to control the size of the pot. I mean, on the river, it just he even blocks my like queen nines, queen jacks, all these hands. Yeah. I think our image also helped really well there, that we have been stabbing a lot against him. And to the right time, adjusting. A board where now we play a very wide range against a very wide range, so we cannot just go ahead and c-bet everything. because we're gonna have so many low equity hands. I think it would be a fine bluff from his side here. King 9. It's going to be a check call here on this board. Yeah, river I go for a small bet. We still have some low flush draws. And we have a lot of 10x as well, of course. Some I wouldn't necessarily always bet big my 10 because he will have a lot of air. And as we saw it earlier, I definitely wanna where I was value betting my 2 pair also a little on the smaller side. And it's a hand I can easily bet forward with. So it's definitely a board where we can start leading as well. And turn, I want to start being polarized towards draws and 2 pairs, straights and better. Like I don't really have protection bets anymore on the flop. It's a lot about protection, you know, if you have a 5 or 6, a gutter, you fold out some overcards, and now we attack his weak 5x, 6x. Gonna raise the Jack 7 suited. Are we gonna fold out Jack 8 off? Yeah, I think so. I think we would. Definitely gonna check raise this flop. And we're gonna keep betting the turn. And river I will play check decide. Okay, now we can jam. Question is, what would we be checking? If we have something like King Jack, Queen Jack, those hands not that don't contain a diamond, don't contain a spade, those hands we can check call with. Straights we could check call with that don't have a spade. All right, we got him. GG. This time we definitely had a better run, of course. You need to run well. And we took it down. Interesting call though on the river. He was, yeah, I might value shove King Jack. He blocks ace. I'm 3-betting ace Jack pre. Jack 7. I would probably check forward the river with my spades. Like if the 9 gets there, the queen and a non-spades, or the 5, I would just check forward. Like then we don't beat anything else anymore. Definitely want to see a 3-bet here. People are fucking crazy now with the bounties. How much did we cash actually? We won 43k. Feels good. Feels good. Let's finish this hand here. We're going for a c-bet. All right. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you have any questions, put it in the comments. And I'm already looking forward to read the Sunrun comments. Most of the time I'm just gonna delete them anyway. Yeah, feels good. And I wish you guys a strong week. Stay healthy, stay at home, and then see you next time.